insane. So we'll talk about that. But before then, let's get started with Brandon.
Overnight, President Biden gave his first interview since the Russian counterattack on Ukrainian cities.
The president giving his assessment of whether Vladimir Putin might use a nuclear weapon. Our senior White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, has more for us. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, as Putin ramps up his brutal bombing of Ukrainian cities, President Biden overnight saying he thinks that the Russian president is a, quote, rational actor, but saying he is one who greatly miscalculated Russia's military strength and the fight of the Ukrainian people. But despite Russia's desperation now, Biden says he does not think Putin will ultimately use.
Wait, what is this? You trying to hoop with Dio and the boys?
We finna hoop out, nigga. I'm finna do a lockout in the gym, and I tweet the address too, nigga. It's like that. That nigga play for Gonzaga. We not playing no games. I'm getting Bronny on the team. I'm getting Rob Dillingham on the team.
I don't think he's talking about me.
Dusty Stromer is on the team. Nick in the cut gonna fuck around and get Jared. Who else? We need a center. We really don't even need no center for y'all weak ass niggas. Anybody who want to play. Shit.
I don't think he's talking about me, dude. You don't need Bronny to fucking play against me. Like, zombie center? Yeah, dude. I'm gonna be center when LeBron James's son, who is much more athletic, much taller, much better at basketball. Like, when you bring in like actual people who fucking play basketball, like varsity, when you play college. You're talking about people who play college? Wait, how tall is Bronny? He's 6'2"? Wait, how? No shot. He's 6'2"? That's crazy. I mean, he can still probably cook me, but... Wait, how old is he? He's 18, bro. He's 6'2". He's 18. He's going to keep growing. Yeah, he's 18. People don't grow after 18. I grew after 18. You're wrong. Anyway, look at his brother Bryce. His younger brother Bryce is even bigger. I think he's closer to 6'4", but his younger brother looks like he's the one who's got the height. That's kind of wild. If you're LeBron James's son and you're only 6'2" at the age of 18, like how tall was LeBron at the age of 18? I think LeBron already was like 6'6", right? But yeah, people who say like you grow, you're done growing at 18 are so fucking wrong. I grew in college. I went into college 6 foot and I came out like 6'4". So you're not right about that. And I wasn't 6 foot, but like I think I was like 6'1" or something. So you're fucking certainly wrong about that. I wrote a hard drive article about you, King. Twitch viewer watching XQC, watch Misgifts apology stream. Twitch viewer watching XQC, watch Hasan, watch Misgifts apology stream. Confused for some reason. It just seemed like a little all over the place, said Howard, straining to watch the recording of Misgift stream embedded within Hasan stream, embedded within XQC stream. Misgift mentioned something about his lawyer saying something which was cut off by Hasan saying something about content demons, which was cut off by XQC saying he was just watching his best friend's stream. Misgift stream could have been much more organized, in my opinion. Howard reportedly tried messing with his volume controls to try to amplify Misgift's audio without amplifying XQC's or Hasan's to no avail. Someone started playing Mario at one point, and I couldn't tell whose screen it was on, he said. They make these streams hard enough to follow in the first place without all this extra stuff. Then someone gifted like 1,000 subs on one of the channels, no idea which, and alerts started going off like crazy. It's so hard to keep up with social media discourse these days. It's confusing when even a juicer like me can't follow along. Despite difficulties, Howard remains vigilant that streaming is just the best way to consume information. I've actually had an idea for a type of stream where it's just one piece of content playing the whole time and you just watch it, he explained. There's no other video stream along with it. It's just the content by itself. I know that sounds pretty boring, and even I wonder who the hell would want to watch that, but maybe it's worth trying. Until then, though, they should just dial these streams back just a little bit. That's a good one, chatter. At press time, Howard was still attempting to clear up his confusion by watching a YouTube reactive, moist, critical summary of Miskif's Twitch apology. Quality. I love how much brain rot the person who wrote this must have. I mean, they're in the chat. They're literally in the chat, and they're like a 20-month. Yeah, I mean, here. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Hassan. My life is complete. They're a 13-month subscriber, the person who wrote this. Why would you think that they're normal in any meaningful capacity? Of course they're fucking brain rotted. This is hard drive, which is like the Onion for gaming. Anyway, I have the Dennis Prager clip. But getting back to the serious news, once again, I'm going to start it from the top. Brandon is talking about Biden and nukes. But what I'm talking about is the top of the hour ad break. Because at the top of the hour, there is a real nuclear threat in the form of content disruption. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Okay, we're getting into it. Okay, here's the 1 minute ad break now. Okay, there it is. First name, last name. Thank you for the 10. Barricade73. Thank you for the 10. Allowing 20 people to no longer see the ads. All right, I gave you the ad break. Let's get started.
The latest on the war in Ukraine. Overnight, President Biden gave his first interview since the Russian counterattack on Ukrainian cities.
The president giving his assessment of whether
Vladimir
Putin might use a nuclear weapon. Our senior White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, has more for us. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, Robin. Well, as Putin ramps up his brutal bombing of Ukrainian cities, President Biden overnight saying he thinks that the Russian president is a, quote, rational actor, but saying he is one who greatly miscalculated Russia's military strength and the fight of the Ukrainian people. But despite Russia's desperation now, Biden says he does not think Putin will ultimately use a nuclear weapon. As Russia escalates its offensive and Putin continues to threaten a nuclear attack, President Biden overnight warning of the risks of this moment.
The miscalculation could occur. No one can be sure what would happen, and it could end in Armageddon.
Putin has said he isn't bluffing about the potential use of nuclear weapons, but Biden disagrees, saying despite Russia's setbacks on the battlefield in Ukraine, he doesn't think Putin will actually go that far.
I don't think he will, but I think it's irresponsible for him to talk about it. I think he is a rational actor who's miscalculated significantly.
In a CNN interview, the president asked if he had instructed the Pentagon to game out a
No,
nuclear scenario.
Biden, don't do it. No, he said, oh no, oh no.
I think he is a rational actor who's miscalculated significantly.
Oh no, dude, I fell into that trap. Mr. Biden, Mr. Brandon, please get down, sir. Mr. President, get down. You've fallen into the rookie hole. You said Putin is a rational actor. I've done that mistake. Will not repeat it again. I'll tell you what. Classic rookie hole mistake from Brandon, okay? He's in the rookie hole, dude. He said Putin is a rational actor.
In a CNN interview, the president asked if he had instructed the Pentagon to game out a nuclear scenario just in case.
The Pentagon didn't have to be asked.
The war in
If he's wrong, as they're being vaporized, the last moments of civilization will be ripping Biden a new one over how wrong he was. Yeah, they'll be like, you got owned, sir. Meanwhile, he's up on fucking Air Force One, okay? He's towering over the nuclear mushroom clouds as he reads Twitter. As he reads, people on Twitter being like, you got owned, sir. Remember when you said nukes weren't vaporized? As I'm vaporized, I'm tweeting. I'm sending hit tweets. One last time, dude. One last dance.
recent days escalating to new heights. Russia bombarding civilian targets and critical infrastructure across Ukraine for 3 straight days. Firing more than 100 missiles and dozens of drones, killing at least 19 people, some of the strikes captured in these videos circulating online. The United Nations condemning the attacks as particularly shocking. Biden Tuesday joining the G7.
Is it particularly shocking? I feel like it's not particularly shocking. As a matter of fact, it's unsurprising how brutal the Russian occupation and invasion has been. I mean, one, it's war, right? But two, it's not like they've been less unhinged in the past. You know what I mean? I would say it's the least shocking. Like, especially when it very much seems like Putin is like, I'm not gonna be, operating in good faith here. Obviously, if I feel like I'm getting owned super hard, I'm gonna throw out, in the words of Donald Trump, the N bomb. Okay, and by that I mean nuclear. And also, if you strike targets that are outside of the eastern regions, especially if you're like striking out, especially if you're striking like the Crimean Bridge, for example, a bridge of strategic and symbolic importance, he's like, yeah, I'm going to do the same back to you, but worse, because he's already doing the worst shit. Anyway, let's continue.
Leaders for an emergency meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky. The allied leaders are pledging to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes, but Zelensky's urging them to do more.
Щит для України.
Calling for more sanctions and air defense systems. The U.S. Tuesday sending 4 more longer-range missile systems, along with more advanced air defense systems from Germany. The big question now is, how does Putin get out of this? What is his off-ramp, as the president has said? Biden
is the number one strategic target for Ukraine and a 100% a viable option to hit, saying it's civilian is complete bullshit. Yeah, I mean, the retaliation for a bridge that provides logistical support for the war in a limited capacity, but more importantly is also a civilian bridge, is Putin saying, well, we're striking the power grid. You know what I mean? Which is bullshit. Like, what Putin is doing is fucking complete bullshit. It's more brutal than what Ukraine did, and they're always going to do that. Like, they're always going to reply in an infinitely worse way. Specifically because like he already invaded Ukraine. That's it. That's like, you know what I mean? That already is like the worst thing you can do. It's just the U.S. always replies in a more brutal way too. It's our playbook. Yeah. And so that's where we're at now. They are the invading force. All of their actions are going to be violent. Exactly. Is there a revanchist war from the start, saying that it's an eye for an eye is the same take as Musk? I'm not even saying it's an eye for an eye. I'm describing what Vladimir Putin's take is on it, because it's not an eye for an eye. It's an eye for, like, taking your whole fucking skull off, okay? Like, his justification for targeting infrastructure is a silly one. Everyone understands what the purpose of Putin's Ukrainian attacks are. Like, you're not hitting Lviv for a specific logistical purpose. You're doing it to terrorize the Ukrainian people that felt like there was already a return to normalcy, right? Well, not a complete return to normalcy, but like life had started. People in Ukraine and Western territories that are no longer occupied were already like living their lives again. And as a matter of fact, would, from as far as I understand, didn't even go to bomb shelters whenever air raid sirens were happening, because that's how commonplace it had become. this was surprising in the sense that like these were actual bombs that flew over and ended up killing civilians. And for that reason, now they're back to being afraid. And that is the purpose. It's a disruption of the day-to-day experience of Ukrainian lives. And it's also to strike fear in their hearts. And to make the war as costly as possible. It is terrorism. You know?
Last night said Putin could end this war right now. He could argue to the Russian people that he set out what he intended to and bring Russian soldiers home. But Robin, based on what we are seeing on the ground right now, it is clear Putin's strategy for now is to double down and escalate.
It does seem to be the case. And Mary, President Biden also said that he has no plans to meet with Putin during the upcoming summit unless it's about the release of Brittany Griner.
Yeah, Robin, the president said right now he has no intention of meeting with Vladimir Putin at the summit next month. Biden making it very clear that there will be no one-on-one negotiation about Ukraine, saying the allied leaders have agreed there'll be no discussion of Ukraine without Ukraine present. But Biden said if Putin wants to discuss other issues like the release of WNBA star Brittany Griner, well, Biden says he's willing to meet with him.
All right.
Robin.
Okay, Mary, thanks so much.
Hi, everyone.
No one gave a single shit about that attack. We grew too accustomed to this for their terror to work. I mean, it's still terrorism, though. You know what I mean? You can say you grew accustomed to it, which is really fucked up that you have to endure that trauma, right, in your everyday existence. But it still disrupts people's lives, right? Especially when the targets were the electrical grid and the power grid in general. So for that reason, you know, there's still areas that have had no power for the past fucking 3 days. Right? Didn't we bomb pretty indiscriminately during Operation Shock and Awe? Yes, it was really fucked up. It was really fucking brutal, which is precisely why I always say, like, what Vladimir Putin is doing is American playbook shit. And when I say that, I mean that as a negative. For those of you who don't understand, I consider that to be awful, the worst thing you can do. You know? What summit is the next month they're talking about? I'm not entirely certain. I mean, it's bad, but we definitely don't achieve whatever they want with those attacks, especially from that Ukraine has more air defense. Okay, guys, stop mentioning every time one person raids, please. It's going to be annoying. G20 summit. Ukraine also bombed in Russian Belgorod today, it seems. Am I wrong for thinking Ukraine killing civilians isn't good either? Of course you're not wrong for that. If you are anti-war, you're anti-war across the board. Like I have my, like, people.
Thank you so much for.
People in this community and people across the board are claiming that the Crimean Bridge bombing, which was a suicide attack, right? Like, which was a suicide bombing, is completely valid. It's a completely valid target. It's Russian occupied territory. Like, they should be able to do that. But I don't consider that to be an appropriate target either. And I understand why that is not considered an appropriate target. If that's an appropriate target, why aren't they bombing railroads and why aren't they bombing, why aren't they doing what Russia is doing to Ukraine and trying to use fucking long range missile systems or any kind of fucking bombing with deep inside of Russian territory? It is a bridge, I know. Now, Russian escalation is going to happen regardless. Russian escalation is going to happen regardless, and this is not both siding. This is not a both sides situation. One side is overwhelmingly bad. That side is Russia. Okay? There is no both sides in the situation. Russia has been bad, has been the bad actor in this circumstance from the jump. The moment that they invaded, from the moment that they invaded all the way to now, and even when they are trying to do the eye for an eye as a propaganda point internally, even when they're trying to claim that it's an eye for an eye, their tactics are completely escalating it even further because they're the original instigators in this circumstance. They originally escalated by invading. So there is no both sides in that circumstance. Anyway, let's take a look at the CNN exclusive, the Jake Tapper one-on-one, where Biden addresses Putin's nuclear threats in Ukraine.
For doing this, sir. Appreciate it.
Happy to.
So for people at home who don't know, this is the MAP room. During World War II, this is where it was basically the situation room for FDR. He would look at sensitive information. And now we're at a period where there's another high-stakes war in Europe. You recently said that this is the first time since the Cuban Missile Crisis that there's a legitimate possibility of someone using a nuclear weapon, which could lead to Armageddon. That's the word you used. How realistic is it, do you think, that Putin would use a tactical nuclear weapon?
Well, I don't think he will, but I think it's irresponsible of him to talk about it. The idea that a world